In this video, I'm going to show you 7 indicators that you absolutely need to test out. Having the best indicators to get you in the right trades at the right time is crucial. Without it, you're just burning money. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you my favorite indicator of all time and actually backtest it so that you can see how good it really is. Alright, let's get straight into it. Indicator number 7 is the water-atter explosion. I'm going to use this one. This is what it looks like at default. Now I'm going to just change the way it looks a little bit. I'm going to change the explosion line to white and the dead zone level to yellow. This indicator is special because it helps avoid chop and low volume. This is a good example, right? So this area here is pretty choppy. Now if we look on the water-atter, it gave a couple entries. Most of these entries didn't count because the volume was so low. Once the bar has closed, we look at the volume bar, and if it's above the yellow and the white lines, you're good to enter. So here, for example, we would be good to enter short, and this turned out to be a good trade. The water-atter explosion works as a really great entry confirmation indicator and trend confirmation indicator, and it works as a good volume indicator. Indicator number 6 is the volume profile. I'm going to be using this one right here. The reason being is that these come with TradingView, but they're not free. So you need to actually pay for TradingView to properly use this data, but this one is free. The reason why the volume profile is so special is because most people try to place support and resistance levels by looking at the chart and looking at the candlesticks, and they might do something like this. But the reality is that volume is actually what matters. So you see how these little nodes here, these peaks are actually the zones with the highest volume. In this case, it's up to all the way here, which I believe is 200 candlesticks away, and you could change this in the settings. So for example, if you wanted to do 30 candles, so that's a 30 candle look back period. Now, let's say we wanted to place support and resistance zones. We would look at these peaks. So for example, here is a peak. So we can see this is an important zone. Here's another important zone, and now this orange line is what's called the point of control. It means that in this entire area of 200 candles, this is where the vast majority of the volume is being traded. Usually, price eventually flips away from the point of control. Because think about it like this. People are loading into a position here, right? Tons of volume in this area. Well, eventually, price is going to explode either to the downside or to the upside. Now, there are tons of books and articles and blog posts and videos all about the volume profile. So if you want to learn more about it, I suggest you go check that out. All right, indicator number 5 is the SSL hybrid. First, I'm just going to show you what the regular SSL looks like. So this is what the regular SSL looks like, but now this is what the SSL hybrid looks like. We're going to use this one. It looks like this. A little bit more complicated, but I'm going to show you how I like to use it. First off, we get the entry signals, blue and pink. Now, let's say you entered down here, right, at this entry signal to go short. Now, I like to move my stop loss to the white dots. So this white dot up here is where I would move my stop loss. And then you can use these white dots to periodically move and trail your stop loss. One thing I like to do is I like to use the ATR bands here, which are these gray bands, as a point of where I'm going to move my stop loss to break even. So for example, this is the first candle, right? This is the entry point. This is where we're going to move our stop loss to break even once it gets to that point. And then up here is going to be our stop loss. Now, as price, for example, were to continue to move down, we could continue trailing our stop loss accordingly. I've always loved the SSL. I've backtested it many times before, and it always had great results. Adding these extra little tools really helps and solves the fact that you don't have to have as many indicators on your chart. So if you have a free version of TradingView, you don't have to worry about having too many indicators on your chart. Now, for indicator number 4, we have a good confirmation indicator. So I just want to tell you guys the difference between confirmation indicators and entry indicators. And to do that, let me add the indicator, which is the trend trader strategy. We're going to use this one by H. Potter. Now, to give you an idea of what I mean by this, let's say we added just a basic SSL. Now, let's say we adjusted the settings of the SSL to lower the period a bit. Let's say 8. Now, what's happening here is the trend trader strategy is giving us the overall trend, and the SSL is giving us good entry points. As you can see, there were tons of buy signals within this overall trend. And what this does is it creates rules and ways to avoid choppy zones. So if you pair these indicators, for example, with some volume indicators, or the indicator that I'm going to be showing you next, then you'll get a much better way of avoiding choppy zones and trading in the right direction. If you want more videos like this one, then subscribe and drop a like. All right, indicator number 3. If you're trying to avoid choppy zones and ranging markets, which most people are, then I suggest you try the chop and explode. We're going to be using this one. Now, it looks like this by default, but I'm going to change it up a bit just to make it look a little bit better on my chart. So basically, if we take a look at this indicator, how it works is anytime price is in this box, there's just not enough volume and we don't want to be taking trades. When price moves out of these boxes, as you can see here, it moved out of the box, that's when we're okay to enter. Same thing here, price moved out of the box, we're okay to enter. Technically, these yellow zones are warning zones. The black is absolutely do not trade and the yellow is warning. I removed this and made all of this zone a non-trade zone by making all the bars white, even the ones that would have been yellow. Technically, any bar that's white, we don't want to take a trade. If it becomes colored, we're allowed to enter. If you pair this with some good entry confirmation indicators, then you're going to have a really good strategy on your hands. Next are my top 2 indicators of all time. At number 2, we have the Vortex. I've actually backtested this indicator over 200 plus times and it ranked as my second best indicator ever. I would play around with the settings, but for example, I think I used it on a period setting of 7. That was always my secret setting on this. It just does a really great job of giving entry signals. This is definitely a very good entry confirmation indicator. Basically, it's very simple. Red just means enter short, blue means enter long. And like I said, I like to lower the settings on this because for entry confirmation indicators, I like to lower the settings. And for trend confirmation indicators, I like to keep the settings a little bit higher. And now for my number 1 indicator of all time, the QQE. I'm going to remove this yellow RSI index, change this to green, make it look a little bit nicer. And bam, now as we can see, we have a really good entry confirmation indicator. Now let's backtest this indicator 50 times and see what kind of results we can get. Alright, so for the backtesting for this, it was super simple. All I did was use a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio and took every single trade entry that it gave me so long as I wasn't already in a trade. After backtesting it manually super quickly on Trader Edge, these were our results. We took 50 trades and had a 54% win rate, and we had a really low drawdown, and as we can see, a 1-to-1 RR. Now, that's insane for an indicator used solely on its own on the default settings and taking every single trade. We didn't add any other types of confluence or confirmation. We didn't edit the settings. We didn't do anything, and these were the results on the 1-hour chart euro dollar. If you're wondering what strategy I actually trade on a daily basis, I'll link it in the description below. We're running a special promo right now where you can get 50% off and you'll get all of this for free. I hope you guys enjoyed and I'll see you in the next one.